Oh boy, good evening everybody. It is time for Inside the Ring. I'm your host, Ryan Pilling. And before I get distracted with anything else, everybody needs to go find a coin. Doesn't matter what coin it is, your local currency or your fancy magic weird coins. Normal coins. Normal weird coins. But you need a coin. So while I'm doing the intro, go get a coin. In the meantime, we have our regulars tuning in. Charles again is here from Ohio, and boy, Ohio magicians have been a regular part of this show. And tonight, I actually have a fair bit of Ohio relevant news coming up later, so stay tuned for that. And Missouri is not underrepresented either. Hey, Christopher, thanks for tuning in again. And Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm originally Saskatchewanian. That's a thing. So hey Garnet, thanks for tuning in. And Don is here, his first time. Be gentle. There is no time for gentleness tonight because we have such a jam-packed show. There's probably more magic in this show than there has been in ever before. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out by the end. But it's a lot of stuff going on tonight, so it's going to be a wild ride, Don. I'll tell you that. And Mark is here from Wayne, Pennsylvania. Hey Mark. Jim. Oh hi. Oh hello. And Florida. Brian, we've got pretty well covered. Where's our West Coast people? Is it too early for them? We have New Jersey. Oh, Donna and Drew. Hey, Drew and Donna host a Wednesday night online meeting that has been just a wonderful experience to meet so many new magicians. So thanks very much, Drew and Donna, for everything you do and for coming to see the show. Ken says Ryan's my hero. That's maybe a bit much, but thank you. I appreciate the thought nonetheless, Ken. So we have, as I said, a jam-packed show tonight. 2 live guests coming up tonight, as well as some extra stuff as much as I can fit after that. And we're going to go overtime, I'll tell you that. There will be an overtime here tonight on Inside the Ring. But we are going to get started with our first guest. You may recognize this person if you've seen your Linking Ring magazine this month, because her face will be staring at you on the cover. It is my pleasure to have our special guest all the way from Belfast, joining us very late in her time, Nikola Arkane. Welcome to the show.
Hi, hello Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited every time the show starts. It's like I'm excited.
I'm excited.
We were talking before the show. I was boring Ryan, and now I'm excited Ryan.
Woo! Awesome. So, since it's quite late here, I decided to get some magic together. Is it okay if I share some with everybody?
I would absolutely love that.
Wonderful.
I'll put you center stage and please share some magic.
Wonderful. Center stage is where I was born to be. Now, of course. Well, yes, my name is Nikola, and I am the cover girl of the IBM magazine, Ooh La La. But there's 2 things why I love being a woman and being a magician. And the first thing is, well, because I get to stay up late, perform magic shows, and look this glamorous. And also, as a wee woman, I get to use this, a little purse. Oh. is why us women should have purses. Although we do spend money frivolously. Yes. Speaking of money, I asked Ryan for you all to get a coin. And I wonder, Ryan, could you join me again? Because I need your help, if that's okay.
I'm here at your service.
Awesome, Ryan. So you have your coin, and hopefully everybody else has their coin to join in. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions in a second, okay? And you'll start with the coin in either your right hand or left hand. It doesn't matter which hand, but you have to make that decision, the same as everybody else, okay?
Okay.
And let's say I ask the question to you, Ryan, what is your favorite food? And you say pizza. Now, if you said pizza, wouldn't that be amazing if it was pizza? I mean, that's another skill. I would be a mind reader. But if it was pizza, you would take the coin and you would spell it like this. P-I-Z-Z-A. And the coin would end up maybe in a different hand or the same hand. But I don't want to know, I don't want to see your hands. So make sure you put them underneath, so I don't see, and everybody else, don't worry, I can't see your hands, but put the coin into a hand. Okay, Ryan? And when you've done that, shout, woohoo!
Woohoo!
Ah, great. We're ready to begin. And hopefully everyone out there has coins in one hand. Now, Ryan, your first question is, I want you to think of a name. Any name at all. It could be your mummy's name or your auntie's name. I don't want to guess, though. Don't give anything away. So once you've thought of a name, I want you to spell it like pizza in between your hands. And when you've done that, I want you to shout, yippee.
Yippee!
Oh, great. Lovely. Okay. So you spelt a name. Let's do something different. Let's think of a number. Now, don't think of a number between 1 and 1,000 because we'll be here all night and it's already quite late for me, okay? So think of a number between 1 and 10 and count it out like we did with the spelling, okay? And when you've done that, I want you to shout, yeah.
Yeah!
Oh, wow, that's cool. Awesome. Right. Oh, this one's tricky, so listen up. Ryan and everybody else, if the coin is in your left hand, I want you to spell the word left. And if the coin is in your right hand, I want you to spell the word right. Off you go. And when you've done that, say okay.
Okay.
Oh, great. And finally, just for luck and giggles, toss the coin into the other hand. And when you've done that, I want you to bring your hand out. So I can see, oh yes, I can see them there, Ryan. Now, you and everyone else followed completely bonkers instructions. It is 2 a.m. here, it's quite late. And hopefully, maybe, with any luck, I can guess what hand your coin is in, Ryan. Now, we're across the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, I don't know, I can't really see any difference, okay? But what I'm going to do is I want you to move your right hand up and move your left hand down. That's it. No, move your left hand up and your right hand. No. Move your right hand forward and your left hand back. And I want you just to open up your right hand and show everybody the coin. And Ryan, guess what?
What?
Magic is. The coin is also in my right hand too. And I think if everyone around the world who's watching this show right now, if the coin is in your right hand as well, you can give yourself a pat in the back and say woohoo! Awesome! Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Nikola. That's fun. You were saying about earlier about doing that trick because you love to be able to engage people through this medium that we're all kind of stuck in our little mind boxes.
Very much so. I mean, I think the last year for me has been about keeping magic alive for not only me, but for people as well. Doing interactive tricks like that, or feeding them into your work, is a really fun way to connect with people.
Yeah. So now, obviously on the show, you're here because you were featured in this month's Linking Ring, the cover story written by Larry Lipman, who I think is an Ohio guy. So again, Ohio's everywhere.
Yes.
And that it's a fantastic article. It kind of details your biographical story and your adventures of how you came to be where you are. And it's really well written. Larry did a great job on it. But I'm mostly going to skip past that here tonight, because you can go to the magazine and read that. I have some questions for you that just get right to the things that I'm most interested in. So selfishly, I'm going to ask that. I love the fact that you came into magic kind of backwards from most people. You got into magic. Your first exposure to magic was almost literally an exposure to magic by getting inside of a bow staff illusion.
It was indeed. I mean, usually most magicians that I meet, when I ask them how they got into magic, it was a magic box that they were given at Christmas or from a family member. And for me, I didn't have that. I was exposed to it through studying for a degree in drama and going on work experience with a theatre company, with the director being a magician. He stuffed me in a box in a show, and it was fabulous because I didn't really understand magic at the time, but I was in a magic show. And it was the most bizarre thing. But actually, it completely changed my path, because up until that point, I wanted to be a performer on stage, singing, dancing, acting. I never even considered magic to be part of that story. And now look where I am. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was curious if the way you came into this world kind of changed the way that you look at magic now. Because you look at it more as, I'm maybe putting words in your mouth, but is it more of an extension of performing arts in that way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the magic is vitally important. The magic has to be the top dog, if you like. But for me, I like to kind of weave in my character, music, and performance. It's a whole package for me, really. And I think that's definitely come from studying drama.
And it absolutely shows in everything you do. I was watching your video from your Magic Castle performance, and I was noticing, like, the way that you set down coins on the table is theatrical. Like, it's like, how the actor uses their whole body to project what they're trying to express.
Yeah,
and when you set a coin down, it goes right from your fingers up your arm to your shoulders up to your eyebrows.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's everybody's different, but for me, I like there to be a logic in the magic that I do. Like today, that routine I did at the very start was brand new, so I hope it was okay. But I had to find the logic in that today for myself. If you have a purse, there's the coins, and why do you have all the props? And I kind of search around the table and what would be on the table, what would be logical in this situation, and then I just play about with things and see what happens. And that definitely came from theater. I didn't learn that from magic, I don't think.
and you, I guess, primarily work as a children's entertainer, and that was these theater shows were a children's theater company, I believe.
Yeah.
And so you created this character, Fizz Whiz Pop.
Yes, she is bonkers. And what's amazing is when I first started off as Fizz Whiz Pop, I had no idea what I was creating back then. And it's only now that I'm seeing her kind of grow in style, character. I think experience has helped. Obviously I performed hundreds of thousands of parties, and it's really helped actually during lockdown, because I would never have been as brave as I would have been during lockdown, performing so many different shows for different people and just trying new magic like every single show. I would not have done that if I hadn't have had the other shows behind me under my belt.
The article talks about a series of shows you did where I think it was 17 shows over the course of about half that many weeks, 8 weeks or something. And
it was insane.
Yeah, every single show was not only new material, but a totally new take on your character.
Definitely.
You kind of themed every, going from, space pop to cowboy pop to...
Yes. And what was great about that was I had 17 shows booked in, and they were 2 every single week. And the charity that I was working for at the time didn't have much funding, and I had to decide to do that project, whether, what was it for? And what I decided to do it for was for me. And if they couldn't pay me to do the project, I was like, well, how can I still gain something from taking part in this project? So my gain was, right, I'm going to challenge myself to do a completely different show, because I don't want to do 17 shows as Fizz Whiz Pop. Yeah. So what can I do? And basically every single week I was ordering stuff from Amazon on my own budget, like spacesuit, fairy outfit, magic props. So every single show was completely different. And what I did was I went through my magic drawers, and like every single prop that I bought at conventions I never had the chance to perform, I literally said, right, I'm going to perform that in 2 days. And I did. It was crazy.
So I don't know if people caught that you mentioned that the routine you started this show with was something you've never done before.
No.
And I noticed it throughout your story in the magazine that seems to be a theme where you dive into something first, panic second, and then do it third.
Yeah, definitely. That is my life story. I mean, but what's great is about having that attitude is, you have to start sometime, and you're better starting on your feet than when you have the opportunity. And for me, I only started doing close-up magic as soon as the pandemic hit. Like, I literally went to the castle, I competed in the close-up competition, ready to go out and do close-up, and then everything shut down. So for me, I've had no opportunity really to go out and do proper close-up. So all these little shows online, I'm like, right, I have to use this as an opportunity right now to just try out something. And for me, this is the time to do it. I mean, this is the time to try it. If it goes wrong, I'll fix it. And whenever I go out live again, it's going to be much better than this. So yeah, you have to keep going.
I feel like that spirit of taking creative risks is kind of rare in magic. Because magicians by default are people who want to control everything. They want to control the angles and control the spectator and control their, everything about magic is having everything specific. And so I think risk-taking is not often part of magic. I come from an improv background, improv theater.
Wow.
So I approach magic that way of just trying something and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that came from performing as Fizz Whiz Pop, because when you perform for kids, absolutely anything can happen, and you have to be prepared for that. Like, I will never forget doing a kids club I did a kids club for over 3 years, and at the start I absolutely hated it, because every time I started my show, the parents would come and bring their children ice cream. And I'm like, why are you bringing your children ice cream during my show? This is ridiculous. And what actually happened out of it was I ended up improvising and saying, oh, you brought me ice cream. And then like it just kind of snowballs after that. So you begin to learn that actually those bad mishaps in your show are opportunities for hilarity to take place. So.
Now, I realize I've been so engrossed in talking with you, I missed some of the greetings here. So I wanted to say hi to a few more people who were popping in. We have, John says, I don't know how to chat. But you did, John. You did. I believed in you and it happened. We have more people. Alfonso coming in from Cincinnati. And Carl from Sweden. Is this someone you know?
Oh, I'm not sure, but I will say, hey, Carl.
Well, Carl is a fan. You're such an amazing performer.
Tack så mycket, min vän.
And I think that must be Larry Lipman right there. He says he's from Virginia, not Ohio. But thanks, Larry, for making this happen and bringing us together on the show here. Scott's from Ring 1 in St. Louis. And David is anxiously awaiting his linking ring in Springfield, Pennsylvania. All right. I think I'm caught up. So thanks, everyone, for chatting in. If you have a question, Nicole's going to be with us for a few more minutes. So if you have a question, now's a great time to type that in. I do have a question. You created this character, Fizzwiz Pop, which is this pixie, kind of crazy, weird character that doesn't really exist in the normal world, and then you have transitioned over to Nikola Arkane as the close-up magician. Is Nikola Arkane a character for you?
I think so. She will become something. That's why I'm trying a lot of stuff with. I'm just firing a lot of stuff at this character because I don't know what she is right now, and that's okay. It's okay not to know what you want to do or what you want to be as in a character. So I'm just trying a lot of different magic, trying a lot of different styles, performing the different sorts of music, and just experimenting, because this is the time that I didn't get with Fizzwiz Pop in the start. Because I went straight into doing paid shows, it had to be of a standard, if that makes sense. So I couldn't really play about in the beginning. So I'm actually allowing
risk.
Yeah. So I'm allowing myself to have that now, and hopefully then it means creatively and magically I will become stronger as a performer. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, creatively, it seems like you've had your renaissance going here, because not only doing all the performing, I first kind of learned about you when you did the Advent calendar last Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time seeing you. And you created, I feel like it was a brilliant idea. As this kid's character, it was like this daily video that people would be able to subscribe to and share.
Apologize, I started my music. One second, there we go.
Leaned on the remote.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, it seems like you've been doing, just as you said, trying everything. But in addition to performing, you've been writing books, like 2 books are written, or maybe more?
Yes, definitely. I'm currently publishing a book called Pop, which is a trick book and also an entertaining book on how to entertain children. And I'm hoping that that's going to be ready to go on sale on the 1st of July, fingers crossed. And then I'm finishing up the design on another project, which is a close-up project called In Plain Sight. And basically all of the effects, there's 7 effects in total, and all of the effects I invented in lockdown, because everything is, you can see everything, but you can't see everything, if that makes sense. So yeah, and what's really fun is I have Stefan Eriksson, who is a wonderful artist, and he's working on the project. So there's going to be elements of drawings in it and things like that. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Well, yeah, I was looking at some of the things that are kind of in progress, and it looks fantastic. So, now, I think you have one more performance to share with us here.
I do indeed. Is there time for me to share something?
Absolutely. Yay! This would be a perfect time.
Awesome. Okay, so
I'll put the spotlight back on here.
Okay, 1 wee second. I have to move the chair out of the way because I want to stand for this. And so I hope that you've all kind of got to know me a bit more. And I have one final thing I want to share with you. And it is, well, it's a message, really. And the message is, well, what is magic? I mean, it's brought us all together during this crazy time. But magic for me is like a paradoxical entity, both chaotic and beautiful at the same time. And sometimes magic needs to be seen to be believed. So, with that note, don't blink. You just might miss something. And of course, we all have a question to ask magicians, and it is magic real? Or is it an illusion? And sometimes illusions are quite small and thin, so magicians don't like to show those illusions. We like to do something else entirely. Oh no, actually, I have a better idea. Like the magicians of old, if you believe in magic, it becomes real. I mean 3D real. And then, when you have a real pack of cards, it's time to do a real magic trick. And this magic trick I want to show you and leave you with is something I invented during lockdown. And it is about chaos and order, because that's what happened to me in the last year. My life stopped. Everybody's life stopped. And it was very chaotic. But across that time, we all tried to create order. It was easier said than done. Let me show you this trick all about order and chaos. It's called stellar collision. I hope you enjoy it. Don't go. And sadly, it is now time for me to go. And Ryan, I just want to thank you for having me on this wonderful show. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Nikola. Everyone give a round of applause. Type things in the chat. Do whatever you want to do to show appreciation. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
No problem at all.
if the IBM folks can look forward to seeing you again in July.
Yes, I'm performing at the convention in the gala show with a totally brand new thing. So yes, tune in, and it's going to be plenty.
Merely a taste of what's yet to come.
Yes.
And I think everything that I've gotten from you, Nikola, means is just a sense of what's to come, because you're always working on something new and interesting, and I look forward to seeing more of that. So thank you very much for sharing your magic with us tonight.
Thanks, Ryan.
Good night. Wonderful. That was literally putting the international in International Brotherhood of Magicians. A little less literal on the brotherhood part, but the sense of community is still strong. And thank you very much. We have folks in the chat again, very much appreciating the shows here tonight. This is, as I said, this is one of the most magic-packed shows we're going to have. Lovely magic. Alex Xander is here doing the waves or the prayers, or I don't know what that. I'm not hip to the emojis, but appreciate it. And I should mention, John is actually going to be our guest next month as well. I was talking with John. He's contributed multiple Hocus Pocus parades to the Linking Ring. So next month we're going to dig into some of that stuff he's been sharing. I've never been this organized in my life to know what I'm doing a month from now. But that's going to happen next month. And again, thank you very much, Larry, for writing the cover story. Definitely check it out. There's some great stories and insight from Nikola's life in magic in that article. And speaking of which, I need to pop up the old reference here. That can be found May 2021, page 16. In the latest this month's Linking Ring, if you've received it. If not, any IBM member can pop online and get the digital version, as I do. And as I said, more coming up. So I'm going to jump right to it. We have another guest coming in live for the show tonight, and this is one of our regular columnists for the Linking Ring magazine. He's been writing his column since January of 2019, and it is called Craft Store Magic, and here he is, the man himself. Please welcome, hey, Dave Arch is here.
Thank you, Ryan.
Hey, Dave, thanks for coming on the show.
Nice to be here. I was trying to figure out the time difference that she had, and I'm happy it's not as early or late here, but
yeah, I think it was 1 a.m. or 1:30 in the morning for Northern Ireland there.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Dave, you people have probably seen your column in the Linking Ring magazine. Yes. What they may not know about you, because it doesn't really come up in the column itself, you are also, you've been a speaker and presenter pretty much your whole career, being a minister and a sales presenter, and now you are training the trainers, as they say.
That's right. That's right.
You are the epitome of a professional presenter. From what I've been reading, you know your stuff.
I've been a professional magician for 10 years, and then I went on to do teacher workshops and went on to do corporate speaking and then sales training and all of those things, always using magic. Mm-hmm. So always looking in Omaha, Nebraska. Like most cities, we don't have a brick and mortar, so Hobby Lobby became my brick and mortar.
Yeah, I've always felt like for me it's the dollar store is my favorite magic shop.
Oh yes, I have a creation from the dollar store. I went, I need something for today. I went over and found it at the dollar store, and absolutely, that's great.
For me, it's always the like $25 store, because I go in there for one thing. I'm like, oh wait, that's interesting. Oh, that could be something.
Well, your mind just spins off in different directions, which is great fun.
Yeah. So your column is exactly that. It's about looking at objects, normal everyday objects, and looking for the magical applications of them.
Yeah, it really was. The series of columns was written. I did a large chunk of them by just slowly walking through Hobby Lobby and going, and I'd take a picture of that, and then I'd walk some more and go, and this I could do that, and all of a sudden I had a collection of these. So that's what's happening in the Linking Ring.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily inventing new tricks.
Oh no.
It's as I said, it's connecting the dots. It's looking at this object and looking at the properties of that object and saying, oh, it could be used with this. And,
Absolutely.
so was this something that you learned or that you were taught, or how'd you get to be looking at the world this way?
Well, I think magic, I don't know whether you're attracted to magic because you look at the world this way or magic impacts you. I think probably it's a little bit of both. So I started young and just didn't outgrow it. People can identify with that. Just didn't outgrow it, and that was great because it changed the way I look at the world, and I think it causes you not to make assumptions because you understand it's assumptions that allow you to entertain and fool people, and so you become a little more. I don't know about I think there's a certain skepticism that comes with magic, and then the creative part. Once you accumulate a body of knowledge, to walk through a craft store and spin off here and here and
you can't help it. Yeah.
Whoa, that's when it gets.
It's just sparks inspiration all over. Yeah.
One of my early mentors said, magic is a little bit like eating a coconut. At first, you learn a trick, and then you learn another trick, but finally you're through the husk, and the meat inside is really good. But you've accumulated a lot by the time you get to the meat, and then it's fun because then you're walking through and putting this together with this together with this.
I got another question for you, but I thought before that maybe we could get some of the meat of this. Would you be willing to demonstrate one of the ideas from one of your columns?
Let's see, March 2019.
Okay.
I was amazed. I don't know if we have dealers here because I don't want to take anything away from dealers, but I was amazed at the quality of rope Hobby Lobby has back in their sewing department. Oh my gosh, you need to check that out. And I'm adjusting my camera because I'm going to slide back here and I'm going to stand up because Pavel. I haven't seen that many people do this, but he had a let's see, how did he do this? Put it behind him, and then he did something like, okay, that's not quite what he did. Just a minute. He was much better at it than I am. Let's see. Went behind him, and then he got those, and then he would go. And it just literally looked like it came right through it. And that's in March 2019. Rope through body. But do check out the rope that Hobby Lobby has because they've really got some good stuff.
Yeah, it looks like the fancy stuff you see in the magic shop. As you said.
It's that soft piece that that kind of rope you love to use.
Yeah, and so that's exactly what we're talking about. You see the rope, and you thought, oh, what could that be used for? I mean, a million things.
I haven't thought about Pavel's rope through body in years. I ought to bring that out again. There it is.
So, okay, here's my big question I had for you. So you are, as I said, you've been a magician. You've also been a trainer, a kind of a corporate sales trainer. You've written at least 2 books that I know of called Tricks for Trainers, which is giving, I assume, kind of beginner level or simple tricks that non-magicians
it's that
can use.
Application. So you look at something, and you say, how could a trainer who isn't a professional magician, how could they use that in their training to engage? And I find if you use a little bit of magic in your corporate training, when a group is sitting like this, they're very teachable. They're looking at you. You've caused their jaw to drop. They've opened up, and I think there's a right way to use it. And I wrote a series of books called Tricks for Trainers. And you're right. That's what I did when I was in that corporate train the trainer. I spent a lot of time in hotel rooms at night, and I go, what am I going to do? I think I'll write another book.
So the question I'm trying to lead to here is this.
Yeah.
And this is kind of, in my experience, I've taught a lot of magic to kids primarily.
Yes.
And through that process of teaching magic and trying to figure out lessons for kids, it's opened up my eyes to simplicity in magic. Oh. And how the simple tricks are the ones that have the most elbow room to work with and create performances. So in creating those books, do you find it influence the magic you choose to do?
Absolutely. It's the magic I choose. I was a big fan of Carol Fox before his passing, and his thinking influenced me deeply. And the man was he was the poster boy for simplicity. He would take that which others had made complex and make it simple. I think sometimes, and of course this comes from my train the trainer background, I think the people who can really teach are people who have taken a body of knowledge, they've gone out here with it, and then they've come back here, and they know its essentials. If someone's trying to teach me from out here, I leave going, oh, I'm impressed with how much they know. I didn't get a thing they were trying to say. Well, they taught it when they were still out here. They hadn't brought it back to its essence yet. Does that make any sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's like I think this is attributed to Einstein or one of those theoretical physicists. They say you don't really understand something until you can explain it on a napkin.
Well, I think that's true, but it means you've processed it thoroughly. And you understand what its essential parts are. You don't get the whole peripheral in there.
Yeah, because I found certainly, I started by finding simple tricks to teach kids, and then those simple tricks ended up going in my working repertoire.
I couldn't say it. I think that's a wonderful way to say it.
Yeah.
Because it gives you, and I like how you said it earlier too, it gives you so much room in which to insert yourself, to play with the audience, to do all those things that are a crucial part of entertaining.
Yeah. John is adding his vote. He says, I love Hobby Lobby and the dollar store for magic. He's another very creative guy coming up with all sorts of things.
Very much fun.
Now, you also have another book. I'm trying to remember the title of it now. I didn't write this down. It's about presentation. What's the title of that one?
Showmanship for Presenters.
Showmanship for Presenters. Yeah. And I've been subscribed to your series of excerpts from that book.
I'm glad.
I just got the 8th part today, and it's been wonderful. Like, this is what I mean when I say you're clearly a professional presenter, because these tips in here are very specific, very actionable. Like you talk about in one of them, when to start talking after applause.
Yes.
And
well-shaped curve. And
yeah, you've graphed it out, which is a fantastic way to teach it and explain it, and to maximize the audience response.
Well, that was fun for me, and I used the late night talk show. I actually, in the back of the book, and one of the last episodes you're going to get in this series is a late night talk show training guide. And you basically sit and watch a late night talk show and go through what are the principles they're using to keep you from leaving. And it's stuff we can all learn from if we process. I mean, it's just like a teaching video every night.
Now, I'm trying to remember where I found that and where other people can find it. What's the link to get that series?
I think, just a moment here. I think it's at omahamagician.com. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
And now scroll down to about, there's a young me. Scroll down to weekly complimentary essays. There you go.
Well worth it. Absolutely well worth it.
Thank you.
Check that out. Yeah. Speaking of old promo photos, I noticed these new cameras they've come out with now. They actually make you look older and fatter. So I don't know why. Like every camera I bought, it makes me look older and fatter. So I haven't updated my photos.
You mean they're authentic? Yeah, I didn't like I like when you could put a fuzzy lens over it or something.
All right. Dave, you have another one to share with us tonight.
Well, this is one of those that comes out. The principle I've used over and over and over again. I've used it with kids, and that's what I'm going to show you here. I'm going to make sure I don't.
I'll put
have
the full screen here.
Oh well, that'll be good. I do it with kids, but then I do it with corporate. If you change this from pictures. And I went to the dollar store, and there were animal cards there. Oh yeah, and we're talking about some lions and 2 zebras, and the lions. This is kids, but then I change it once the principles understood. You change it and you put words on it, and you make a point in your training or in your teaching. So the lions. The lions said to the zebras, let's play hide and seek. And the zebras, being very bold, said, well, there's so many of you. I think, let's see, 7 times 3, that's 21. But we'll take you on because we're pretty confident. And so they hid. And then they got to thinking, hey, wait a minute. There's 21 of you and there's 2 of us. This is not fair. So they said, hey, a group of you must leave. So a group of them did leave. A group of them left. And you be like the lions. Yes. Now, I was sure the zebras were here. That's what the lions thought, but au contraire, they were not. And let's see, let's make it more complicated. Now I was sure the zebras were here, but au contraire, they were not. No, they're very, very good. They're very good. In fact, oh yeah, they're good. They're good. So that little principle, that would be from March of 2020. That little principle can be done with little cards, big cards, jumbo card stage, everything, but you can use words. You can use, that principle has been a keeper. Yeah. And I just called it Animal Monte in that particular issue, but boy, is it a flexible. Sometimes you find something that is so flexible and so adaptable that it goes into one of those generic switch them around depending on your crowd.
Yeah, and I'm sure when you're presenting for groups, you would customize it for that audience or for that group. And
exactly.
Yeah.
These happen to be the ones I could find at Dollar Tree today.
It's fresh stuff.
I just wanted to show that it could be done, yes.
Yeah, I always encourage people, especially with like packet tricks and things that are playing cards. I think I say, can it be anything other than playing cards? Like, just take one step into anything. Could be photos, could be postcards, could be pictures of animals, could be,
We do get stuck, and that's true. That's true with any discipline. But we kind of get stuck where we first see it, and then adapting.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's certain people who do make that step outside of that rut, and then next thing you know, you're buying that at the magic shop for $30. So just do the work yourself. Come up with anything other than playing cards.
Doing out of this world with pictures. Okay, so now we're in that one, and then
or a McComical deck. We had one of the guests on the show a few months ago had a McComical deck using sandwiches, like ingredients to make a sandwich.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
And it ended up with a peanut butter and onion sandwich, which
I think that's where the fun starts. Is when you can start playing and manipulating these pieces, these paintbrushes we've been given.
Yeah. And I've just caught word here. Shelby tells me that it's not my cameras. I am older and fatter. And trust me, Shelby is an expert when it comes to being old, so he knows what he's talking about.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, Shelby, I think you met your match there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, as I said, Dollar Store is my favorite magic shop because it can connect those dots and come up with something new.
And I think there's another, a big principle in my life has been trap yourself. Trap yourself. If you find yourself in a rut, trap yourself. Sure, I'll write a column for the Linking Ring. Sure, once a month, have a new idea from a craft store. Sure. Okay, that's trapping myself. And now, that's what I do.
That is exactly what Nikola and I were talking about.
Yeah.
Making a big commitment to something and then panicking and then figuring it out.
Well, when you do magic full time, it's like people call and say, well, do you do close-up? Uh-huh. Do you do illusions? Sure do. Does my family like to eat?
Can you make my Jeep disappear? Yeah, sure.
Hey, so it's kind of one of those things where you do put yourself out.
Yeah. All right, Dave, I'm going to say goodnight for now. I very much appreciate you coming here and sharing some ideas. And
thank you for inviting me.
Giving people that kick to get out of that rut.
See you back in the magazine.
All right. Thanks very much, Dave. Have a good night.
Sure. Bye-bye.
That was Dave Archie. You can see his column every month going back to January 2019, Craft Store Magic. And there's so little time and so much magic yet to put in this show, so we're going to jump right to the very next part of the show. Tonight on the really, really late Magic News, we dig into the pages of the Linking Ring magazine for those tidbits of interesting, newsy related things and put them together and see what we can find. And tonight we're doing a deep dive into one topic that takes us back 95 years. 95 years. The year is 1925. My math is not right on that. Wait, yes it is, I think. We're going to go back to December of 1925 with this article from the then president of the IBM, the original founder and first president, Len Vintus. He says, "Are you in favor? It has been proposed that the IBM hold a convention. The purpose of this convention would be to create greater interest in our society, give members a chance to renew old acquaintances and make new ones, and last but of considerable importance, to elect new officers. Members not able to attend could vote by postcard ballot. The convention would have to be held at some point most convenient to all and where there would be sufficient local interest to warrant a big attendance. If successful, the convention would be made an annual affair. It was suggested that the convention be held in Kenton, Ohio, this being a central point for magicians in the East, and Brother W.W. Durbin has volunteered to take charge and to help with the details." This was in 1925. He says, "We want to hear from every member of the IBM. Send your letters to President Len Vintus as early as possible." Turns out that plan came to fruition, and Mr. Durbin of the WW, Durbin fellow, followed through on this. In spring of 1926, Len Vintus says, "I'll meet you at the convention," is a byword of the IBM members these days. Space does not permit my mentioning all the members who are going to attend, but suffice to say they are coming from coast to coast. And the latest word from Brother Durbin advises that over 100 have asked for reservations, and I fully believe there will be more than that when the time comes. Blackstone, Richard Davis, Survey Leroy, and others have notified us of their intention to be there, and Brother Durbin is leaving absolutely nothing undone. Big street banners, large posters of magicians posted around town, convention emblems, the most beautiful printed program that has ever been produced, are only a few of the wonderful things that will be seen and enjoyed by those attending. And this too came to pass. Let me show you that beautiful convention program. It was put together for the 1926 first ever IBM convention in Kenton, Ohio. It was a multi-page affair. And let me show you the menu. I found that interesting. The menu of this program contained such things as Blackstone Fruit Cocktail, Conradi's Hot Rolls, the Expose Coffee, down with it, he says. And no gin Gordon will be served. This was during Prohibition. So the convention happened. It was the summer of 1926, the first ever IBM convention, and there's a few brief reports on what went down at this convention. But basically, 150 magicians gathered in Kenton, Ohio, at the home of Mr. Durbin. And you may not know the name, but you've probably heard of the result. Because in his backyard, he created this, a little theater of magic. The walls were plastered with posters and postcards and all sorts of printed items from the magicians of the day. This was called Egyptian Hall, named after the famous Egyptian Hall of David Devant and Maskelyne in London. This was the American answer to Egyptian Hall, and you may recognize that name because that is now owned, essentially, the collection is owned by Mike Caveney, and he often writes from the resources that he gained from acquiring Egyptian Hall collection. But this is where it happened. This little theater was the site of the shows. And here's some of the little tidbits of things that happened. At noon, Robert H. Geisel of Toledo, Ohio, surprised the citizens of Kenton by walking and running through heavy traffic while blindfolded. Nothing draws a crowd like blindfold traffic walking. At 5:30 p.m., George G. Pauley of Boston, Massachusetts, the quote, original human fly, climbed to the top of the flagpole at the top of the courthouse for the entertainment of the Magi and the general public. Again, no better way to draw a crowd than doing things that would just now get you arrested. Here's another one from October 1926, reporting on the convention. Oh, and I did also find this little thing. This is from the illustrator of the Linking Ring at the time, who was Sid Lorraine. And he illustrated some of the people that were there at the convention with some little captions about what they did. So Dorney, the guy down at the bottom there with the police hat, Dornfield, apparently had this bit that he was doing at the convention where he would run around in this police hat and arrest people or like break up groups of people doing card tricks. He was like the card trick police at this convention. Apparently, that's just something he did for 2 days. I don't know, he was a weird guy. So, Gene Gordon wrote, most of the members attending the famous Kenton Convention will remember the extremely stormy business session held one afternoon. Isn't it singular that a few hours later one of Kenton's leading churches crumbled to the ground due to some unknown vibration? We won't let Powell of Cleveland argue next year. Kenton can't lose another church. Ooh, shots fired! Getting saucy in the business session. But there was a resolution here in January 1927. It says, your deal. As there was a dearth of card tricks at the IBM convention, everyone having forgotten to bring along a deck of cards, Arthur D. Gans announces from Baltimore that he is busy preparing a new act to be featured at the next IBM convention. In the act, which runs, as he states, 9 hours without an intermission, 36 packs of cards are used, a new one every 15 minutes, 147 special prepared cards, and 27 spools of thread. Mr. Gans will carry 31 assistants, all dressed as to represent playing cards, jacks, kings, queens, aces, etc. Arrangements have been made to make Dorney dress as the Joker. The scenery being painted by Bob Geisel of Toledo will have millions of playing cards all over it, and Mr. Durbin has asked for estimates on building the stage larger. Art Pelsman will have charge of the stage and look after the queens, so no one can complain at the next convention that there are no card tricks. That was my report on the first ever IBM convention held in Kenton, Ohio in 1926. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up is because this year the IBM is hosting another first of its kind convention. We're going to be doing an online convention coming up in July, and it is going to be the first of that style for the IBM, and I would hope maybe the last. We'll see about that. But nonetheless, I would encourage everyone here to make sure they are registered for the IBM convention coming up. Here's the thing. I think the registration fee is $99. But that includes your next year's membership to the IBM. So doing some, I think the difference, at least for me, was about $30. So the membership, which I was already going to pay for, is covered. The convention itself then is only $30, and there's a show every night. Like every single night has a headline show in addition to all the other stuff. But think about this: for $30, you get 3 shows, and like normally each one of those shows, to get a ticket to the virtual show would cost you more than $30 to begin with. So for me, a frugal guy, it was a deal that was hard to pass up. So make sure you're registered. Justin Willman is, I think, doing the first opening night show. And that's a heck of a way to kick off the convention. Nikola Arkane will be there as part of one of the gala shows going on in the afternoons. There's so much stuff. It's going to be a great value. So register online, ibmconvention.com. And that so ends my report. And let's jump over. I'm just whirring along here because there's more magic to share. We're going to pop over to our friend Mike Powers, who's going to join us from his Linking Ring column, The Card Corner. And every month he puts together a video to supplement the routines and tricks in his column.
This is the Card Corner from May of 2021. I have my wife Maria here to select a card. Yep, it's that kind of a trick. So Maria, if you'll tell me to stop near the center.
Yeah, stop.
Just reach in and grab one. Okay, and show it to the camera. Mesmerize the card, if you would, and place it back face down. Okay, perfect. We'll get back to that card in just a second. Meanwhile, would you hold your right hand palm upward? Yep, right about there, and your left hand above it. Right there, perfect. And just wait just 1 second. I need to find a card that's not your card. So there's actually 51 choices here. Let's just try this one right here. The 6 of Hearts. Not your card?
No.
Perfect choice then. All right, we'll place that card between your hands. Lower your hands onto the 6 and watch the magic happen. I tap the back of your hand. What was your card?
7 of Spades.
The 7 of Spades has now jumped between your hands, trading places with that 6 of Hearts. Take a look. Is that it? And that is the Card Corner from May of 2021.
You can find that. This is it, May 2021, page 83. And particularly pointed out in this column how efficient that trick is and the handling of that trick. No wasted moves whatsoever. If you get a chance, you can head over to Mike Powers' website and watch it again if you wanted to get right into it. It's pretty slick. And I have one last thing to share with you here tonight. And in fact, it is formalizing a new segment on the show. We'll see. We'll see. But it's something I have been doing in every episode. And it's one of my personal favorite parts of the episode. I get to dig in to the archives of Linking Ring and see what I find. And now it has its own title sequence. Roll it. Production value off the charts here at Inside the Ring. This is the segment of Hidden Gems, and it is exactly that. every IBM member has access to the complete archive of Linking Ring magazines, and there is just an untold wealth of routines and magic in that magazine, and it's often overlooked and skipped over in lieu of that trick that you went to the magic shop and just bought, and you miss out on what you're getting already in the magazine. So I love this opportunity to dig in and show you some interesting stuff that you may not have seen before. And I'm just moving that into view because I'm going to need that little clip in a moment. And I need someone to help me out from the chat, and there's quite a long delay. So anyone who's willing to help with this trick, just type me into the chat, because I'm going to look for one specific person to help me with this, and I'll pick them once I see who's raised their hand to help. This is, as we were talking about with Dave, a trick that is infinitely adaptable. And so I thought for tonight, I'd put a theme on this trick that would be suited to the audience I'm talking to tonight, magicians. And so I'm going to talk to you about some magic books, some of my favorite classic magic books. And I see the people popping in the chat, me. I can only pick one. And I saw Clark. Clark Payne was the first, and Clark's a friend of mine. Met him in Ottawa, and he's now out in Newfoundland. And he, I know, loves the classic books, card books, so this might be appropriate. So Clark, I'm going to show you this list of books. We got the Tarbell Course, Royal Road to Card Magic, Classic Secrets of Magic by Bruce Elliott, Now You See It, Now You Don't by Bill Tarr, and My Best. And those are some of my favorites. And you may have I'm sure you've read Royal Road to Card Magic. You may want to read that again. Or you may want to read one of the ones you haven't read. But I want you to pick one of those books that you would like to read. Just one of those. Tarbell Course, Royal Road to Card Magic, Classic Secrets, Now You See It, Now You Don't by Bill Tarr, and My Best, compiled by J.G. Thompson. All fantastic magic books. I need to wait for the delay, the signal to get all the way out to Newfoundland and all the way back. And I see here Clark has gone with the classic. The card guy picks the card book, Royal Road to Card Magic. Well, fortunately, I think this might work out in your favor, because I wanted to show you here. I have these books in my library. Obviously, that's why I'm talking about them. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. There's the Royal Road to Card Magic. So I'm going to put this one here on my clip, just to keep that in view. And what else do we have here? There's My Best. There is Tarbell Course, only volume 6 in question here tonight. And, there's the Classic Secrets of Magic. I love that. I had that book very early on. It's a great book, fantastic book. But I think that's all. That's 5. See, here's the thing, Clark. I actually had 6 things in this envelope. 7, depending on how you count, but nothing else in the envelope. See? Except for this. I did have one extra copy of one book, and I wanted to show you that book was indeed the Royal Road to Card Magic. So that is an extra copy that I'm able to send to Clark to read. There's absolutely nothing else in that envelope. So that is the hidden gem. That's a trick that can be adapted to any theme and any style. Thank you very much, Clark, for helping out with that. And that was the first time performing it. Like Nikola, I'm trying new things here tonight. And that was, let me pop up the old reference here. This goes back to September 2007, called Present and Correct, because in the original theme by Dougie Gibbard, the theme was birthday presents, and you would find out who or which present was duplicated, which you got 2 of. And actually, I have to thank John Murphy for sending me an email and actually tipping me off to this routine. He said, Ryan, you should check this routine out. It's really good. It's really versatile. You can adapt it to different themes. And I did. Thank you very much, John, for sending that to me. So something for virtual shows. You see it plays all right. It would be even better if we were in a Zoom meeting, and you can adapt it to whatever group that you're working with. So Again, September 2007, page 101, present and correct. I actually tried adding a couple extra things to it that aren't in the magazine. So maybe some of them are better, maybe I don't know. But if you decide to pick it up, send me a note and we'll chat about some of the changes I made, and we'll see how it works for you. I think that is everything. Thanks, Chris, for the thumbs up. We have come to the end of another Inside the Ring, and orders of business. This is your homework. You gotta read your magazine and find those hidden gems in there, because there's more than I can possibly highlight on this program. You can't wait for me to do it. 2, be sure to register for the IBM convention coming up July 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be like this. If you enjoy this show, you'll enjoy the convention, because it's 3 days of sharing magic and watching magic. I'm most excited about watching the shows. I love watching a good magic show, and we have some of the best. Jim says it's too short. Oh my goodness. Well, I shouldn't have rushed so much. I could have stretched it out. But thank you very much, Jim, for tuning in. Thanks, Charles, for tuning in as usual. And Garnet in Saskatchewan. I saw briefly my aunt from northern Saskatchewan popped in, Lila. I don't know if Lila's still listening, but I saw her comment. So if you're listening, hey Lila. So Saskatchewan was well represented tonight. And Denny watching. Thank you very much, Denny. So you have homework. Read your linking ring. Digital version if you haven't got the posted version yet. I know the postal service is struggling all around the world. I'm running out. I'm just spinning my wheels here. So thanks very much, and I wish you a good night.